everybody. Sorry I disappeared for the month of September. It is a new dawn, a new day, and I'm feeling ready to slay. And that's why I have a big ass whiteboard next to me. For those who don't know, National Novel Writing Month is a month-long writing challenge. Sit down on November 1st, start with 0 words, and write give or take 2,000 words a day until you hit 50,000 words somewhere on November 30th. It's a month-long challenge to just let go of your perfectionism and just write. Now, just like for those who have been like following the downfall of the NaNoWriMo organization from afar like I have, I'm not doing their version of NaNoWriMo. I'm doing what my writing group is calling the November program. It's legally distinct. And basically what we're doing is a set your own goal writing challenge. So a lot of us are still going with the old 50,000 word goal, but some of us are going for more, some of us are going for less, and honestly, the point of it all is to shut up and write and have fun, and this is the best way I know how during November. So, this is the way that I have found in recent years like works for me, as somebody who doesn't like to plan their whole stories out. I'm not an outline kind of girly. I prefer to have all of my little characters set up in their intricate little dollhouse, and then I'm just gonna set them loose. On November 1st at 12:01 on November 1st, they just get set loose into the world. So I thought it'd be fun if I took you all with me and like let you join in on this process. I'm not entirely sure what I'm gonna do for my November novel. I know I want to do a murder mystery of some sort. As you can tell, that's sort of my thing. I know that I want to set it in a somewhat fantasy world. I think I want to make it a little more like low fantasy. Sort of, have you guys played Dishonored? That series of games fucks, by the way, and has some of my favorite world building in recent memory, and it's such a distinct style of magic, where magic does exist, but only on the fringes of society, and even then it's still overtaken and like, you can still get shot with a gun. It's like the worst thing that can happen to you is getting shot with a gun. Sure, there's like magic going on, but you can still get shot. You know what I mean? And I want that sort of world. That's sort of like steampunk, low fantasy style. There's magic, but like polite society doesn't talk about the fact that there's magic. I think that's what the setting for this murder mystery is gonna be. Now that sort of inherently makes some challenges. Number one, magic would make murder really easy, don't you think? I mean, just like from a practical standpoint, you know? Like, if you cast Fireball on somebody and they die, yeah, they died from Fireball, but like, how does that get tracked back to you? How does any of that work? It goes different from setting to setting for sure, but that's like a lot of work to figure out how magic murder works. And I kind of don't want to like get bogged down too much into that, because I like magic systems. I don't like explaining magic systems. I think that's the most boring shit in the world. I'm sorry for being a fantasy girly who kind of doesn't care how your magic system works. I kind of just want it to work in a way that like makes sense with the rest of the world. Murder mystery. Magic, but not magic as the thing. Magic as the solution to the thing. Something along there. I think the other thing that like every fantasy setting needs to reckon with is how they deal with death. Specifically, do things like necromancers exist in your setting? You know, is there a way to bring somebody back from the veil of death, or once they die, is that just it? And those rules need to stay like really internally consistent. Hi, Copy. Everybody say hello to Copy, the most beautiful boy. Hi, Bubba. I want necromancers and like people who can bring them back from the dead to exist. I don't necessarily want them to like be able to bring somebody back from the dead without a consequence. To quote the King of Cunt from Once Upon a Time, magic always has a price. I think here's my pitch for this murder mystery novel. A rich man's wife gets murdered while he's hosting a dinner party. He calls for the type of service that rich men can afford, a necromancer. Except what he gets isn't actually the necromancer. What he gets is a con man pretending to be the necromancer. Without a spark of magic to his name, this con man has to solve the murder and act like he's talked to the dead the whole time to do it. And I think the rich man's daughter is going to be onto him the whole time. I think it's fun if somebody inherently just hates somebody and thinks they're a phony, even if they don't know they're a phony. That's like one of my favorite dynamics of all time. I think I want necromancy to exist. I think I want it to be fairly weighty, like it has weight. You can't just do it willy-nilly, but you can do it for the right price, which is why rich men are the only ones who can afford necromancers. Alright, what I'm gonna do before I even start to think of a plot beyond the necromancer I called to resurrect my dead wife isn't actually a necromancer at all and is instead a con man. Before I go beyond that very simple log line of a plot that I wrote down at 3 a.m. a few months ago and has haunted me ever since, what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna write down a bunch of things I want to be able to put into this story. So this might be characters, it might be sort of like a theme, it might be kind of like I want to use something as a motif. I want to be able to use something as like, I think it'd be fun to just like do some research on and really like sink my teeth into it kind of deal. So I'm gonna write down a whole bunch of shit that I want to do in this novel. And then we're gonna come back and we're gonna try and make some sense of it. And then we'll see. First things first that I want in this novel is liars. I want everybody to be fucking lying their pants off. I want this to be a situation wherein the correct thing to do is lie. I want there to be something here. So I want lying and like truth to be kind of a thing to toy with. The other thing I want in here is like, I want like a desolate locale that's important. I want somewhere where these people are out on the edge of civilization, not for no reason, but because they have a higher reason. I think it'd be fun if like this sort of like house where this dinner party is being thrown, I want it to be something like important. I want it to be like a trading hub or like a gatehouse to something. I want it to be like important. I want there to be possibly bigger implications for the fact that there's a murder that occurred at this house. Yeah, I want, there's something there with like, I want there to be some reason for multiple people to be like, hey, have you solved this murder yet? Hey, have you solved this murder yet? I want there to be a reason for that. The next thing I want there to be gender shenanigans. You guys can't read my handwriting at all because it's dog shit on the best day, and today is not the best day. I want there to be gender shenanigans. I want there to be lying. I want there to be cross-dressing. I want there to be double identities. I want there to be people who are so weird with it. I think if we're in a place that is still important to an empire or to a kingdom or to a country, if there's some place that's so important to them but so desolate and like out there, I want these people to be on the fringes in more ways than one. I want there to be some gender shenanigans. I think that's gonna be important to me. I think I want there to be fish. I think it's sort of solidifying in my mind now that I'm kind of talking through it. But do you guys know those really like, not weird fish dishes, but like those fish dishes that are served to you with the fish face still like intact? and it's just like the beady eyes of this fish staring up at you unseeing. I want that. I want there to be a moment where somebody looks into the eyes of a dead fish and like sees the eyes of their long dead mother instead. You know, do you feel me? Do you get me? I want there to be, maybe this is just because I've been playing Dishonored recently and I really like that locale and I'm sort of using that as one of my cornerstones of inspiration, but I really think it would be fun to make this. That would also explain why it's so desolate, why it's so out in the middle of nowhere, is because like maybe this is the cannery. Maybe this is like the best cannery. And it's just an entire town that is made up solely to support this cannery. Maybe this is where all the long haulers stop to refuel. Maybe this is where the whales sing. I want there to be fish. I want there to be fish. Magic as an object. I'm thinking maybe the reason why the necromancer, or why the con man is impersonating the necromancer, is because he was supposed to inherit the necromancy tools. Maybe he's like the necromancer's son who was supposed to inherit the things, but they don't work for him. And so now he's just kind of lying and pretending they do. Some sort of magic as an object. Your magic can get stolen if this thing gets stolen from you. I think that'd be fun. B-plot romance? Question mark? Maybe. I like the idea of having some sort of like daughter of the murdered woman is on to the necromancer or the con man, and maybe they have a little thing going on. What do I want next? What am I thinking? What am I feeling? You know those like big ass like water gates they have where like they can like go down to like block ship travel but the water still flows through just fine? What if this is like a big important water gate? It's like a trade thing. I know what I want. I know what I want. I want an animal sidekick. Maybe just like an animal of some kind. Dog, cat, mouse, fish would be especially fun in this setting. I just want there to be like an animal. I want this to feel serious and then have like not like a comic relief animal, but like I do want one aspect of like comedy here. I think that's a pretty good list of like, what is that, 7 things I really want? The other thing that I really want, there we go. I want a convoluted murder. I want a murder that makes so little sense until it makes all the sense. I want like 3 people to have tried to murder this woman, but only one succeeds and they don't know which one it was. Like, I want there to be some aspect of convolution here, purely just because I think that makes it more interesting for the con man to have to like explain around why he hasn't solved it yet. Like, hey, there's 3 possible solutions to this murder. Do you want me to kill the wrong guy, sort of thing. What is the police situation? What's the sort of law situation of this town? Is it like a guard system? I'm not sure. We'll figure it out. Here is where we stand now for ideas for November. I've had this idea kind of kicking around in my head for quite some time, so I will admit it is kind of fun to finally put some of it down on a whiteboard, because then that makes it real. So I think that's a good start on some concepts that will be fun to play with throughout the month of Preptober. I think next week maybe we'll do a little bit on world building or characters. I haven't decided which one yet. And then at some point, if I want to write a convoluted murder, I will need to plot a convoluted murder. Because unfortunately, you can't really just wing it when you're writing a convoluted murder. I feel like you can wing it pretty much if you're writing a straightforward murder. But like, if I'm wanting to write like an Agatha Christie style convoluted ass murder, I might need to actually plan, which is unfortunate. I'm gonna go flesh this out a little bit more. But tell me in the comments, how are you guys preparing for November? Preparing to write a whole new novel in a month? What's your plan? What's your goal? Are you guys planning on writing a new novel? Are you gonna rewrite an old novel? Are you gonna do 5 short stories? Are you, like, what's your plan? I would love to hear what you guys are doing, how maybe you would turn this into a story if you had to. Hey, have you written today? I really hate to break it to you, but this is the end of the video. This is where I tell you that if you haven't written today, you probably need to. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Just go set a 15-minute timer. Do at least 1 sprint. Just 15 minutes, get the blood pumping, get the words flowing, and then just write for like 15, 20 minutes.